From Cali to Tally, it's time to wake up. WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source, and this is Wake Up War Chant. Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hudjavandi and Corey Clark.
What up, everybody? Let's do it. We're back, Corey and I, a little bit of a hiatus. But listen, again, if we talked every single day when it's not football season, I'd have to ask really stupid rhetorical questions. Nobody wants that. You want the very best, and the very best is waiting for you at warchant.com. Use the promo code WARCHANT30 to get dialed in to the ultimate Seminole sports source, 30 free days of access. But again, somebody mentioned it, the other week, Corey, and then I brought up on the show, he thought I was mocking him. I think his name is Gerald. Gerald listens all the time. I wasn't mocking you, but I was letting people know. I know some people use debit cards and different cards, and they might not have a lot on there, but apparently they might put a hold on your card up to the amount of a yearly membership. They're not going to charge you that, but they'll put a hold on it, kind of like when you get a deposit at a hotel. I've scared you away from doing this, folks, but just do it. It'll be all right, I promise. Right, Corey?
I mean, yeah, it seemed like you got into the weeds a little bit on this one little tiny explanation about one debit card. But, yeah, you should still do it. You'll be fine. And, God bless us all.
Darn right. All right, we're going to do a wrap-up on the Wake Forest game here at the end of the program. We're going to dive into the football aspect of things, mainly the Renegade Express. I'm going to kind of jump around. We're not going to go in chronological order here. But I guess maybe what the people want to talk about. So it's the Lover's Day, by the way, Corey. It's Valentine's Day. Don't forget to get something for Steph. Tell her I said hello. So our first question in that vein, I don't know if we're going right to. Usually we kind of shuck and jive and talk about life, but let's just get to it, Corey. This comes from Leon Knoll 12. With Valentine's Day coming up, which current FSU athlete would you let your hypothetical daughter date?
Oh.
You want me
Cabin-Gelly, I think, is coming to mind first.
That same.
Very bright kid. Obviously, seems to have a future that's going to involve some money. His uncle made $125 million in the NBA, so you got to figure if the relationship moves on to the point of maybe wedding bells, your daughter will be financially taken care of for the rest of her life, and therefore you will be too. So but also he seems like a genuinely good guy, like a nice kid to hang around. For sure. Yeah, talking to Cabin-Gelly, again, you're always quick to be like, listen, we don't know these kids. We get an idea perhaps of their attitude and their personality, but ultimately we don't know what's deep down. But it'd be hard to imagine Cabin-Gelly's anything but a super nice guy. I mean, he really seems super cool, man. So I would say him, and if he's too tall for her, like say she came out with her mom's jeans and was a runt, maybe Drew Mendoza. I would say Drew Mendoza would be the backup I'd have for her. I'd be like, baby, I think you should give Fiondu a chance. Okay. He's too tall. You want someone a little more. But then again, what's like Cabin-Gelly, 6'8", 9", Mendoza 6'5"? Yeah, maybe even 6'10" now. You think he's 6'10" now, yeah. So right. That's something. But then also, if things work out again, your grandkids are going to have some crazy genes where maybe they end up being good athletes too. And the thing I like about Cabin-Gelly most, because these star basketball players are usually a certain way, but that dude was so lightly recruited, that he doesn't have any of that entitlement that most of these kids start getting when they're 14 or 15 years old. Like, he was recruited by Binghamton.
Right.
Like, he's not one of those guys he's not one of those Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
He's a guy that you'd really, that he didn't have anything handed to him. He didn't have people fawning all over him when he was 15 or 16 years old. So I think that's kind of shaped who he is as a person too.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the red meat.
Good question, though.
Yeah, great question. Timely question. We always like that. Here's one. It's a long one, Corey, but I think it's worthwhile. It comes from Mucknoll, but it's just M-U-K, so I don't know if he's from the Muck. Might be his initials.
Could be his initials, yeah. We're going to need a ruling on that. And Muck, when you write in again next week, please explain your name. This whole time, I thought you were from the Muck.
All right, Corey, check it out, though. So his join date is September 11th, 2001. He'd asked a question before. We told him, hey, listen, let us know if that's a glitch or if that's the reason why. He says, hey, gentlemen, as for your previously expressed curiosity about my War Chant join date, that is the legit date. As I recall, it was nearly 18 years ago, obviously. I officially began subscribing to War Chant before September 11, 2001 infamously became known simply as 9/11. I remember getting up early that day in anticipation of catching a late morning flight from Milwaukee to Savannah, a flight that obviously never happened. As I was sipping on some coffee early that morning, I took the plunge and officially became a War Chant subscriber, and I haven't looked back since.
Okay, all right, that's cool. Hey, people, if you're not a War Chant,
we told
there's
you.
Somebody that just went through a tragedy. We all went through that tragedy, by the way, but he's stuck around for 18 years. He's still going strong. Once you get in, it's hard to leave.
It is, man. La Cosa Nostra or whatever. Quick question.
How crazy is that, though?
Yes.
Jeez, that must have been probably an hour and a half before one of the buildings was hit.
Yeah. First, quick question for Aslan. In light of some of your bumper music choices, are you sometimes a listener of Sirius XM Channel 53 Chill? No, Muck. I mean, I'm doing well. I got that War Chant money, but I ain't got that Warren Buffett money to get Sirius XM. So I don't have Sirius XM.
That's a mistake.
Well, the thing is, I got a new car, and apparently, I got a new Toyota, and a bunch of new Toyotas have complimentary Sirius XM, but my car doesn't have it.
Oh, that's a bummer. Yeah. I thought all of them these days had it for at least 6 months.
I was so bummed out. I usually listen to Lithium. When I was working at a TV station, we would get new vehicles, so we would get Sirius. I was a Lithium guy and a couple of the rock stations, and I'm a big pop guy. I would do 80s on 8, 90s on 9. I'm that guy.
All right. Lithium 34 and 17 are my two go-tos. Plus there's a Beatles channel and there's but 17 is it's weird. It's like pop rock, but from the 90s and 2000s. It's not today's pop rock.
Yeah.
So it's got like Blink 182 and, bands that were rock, but were popular in the 90s.
Gotcha. All right, here we go to the Red Meat question. Why are so many people, including our head coach, so worried about the feelings of a gangly, limited 180-pound quarterback from Belglade? Going an entire season with one eligible scholarship quarterback on the roster would be foolhardy, but actually sounds like something our man with the plan, Taggart, would possibly consider doing. But if Taggart does decide to bring in a transfer quarterback, should anyone really care about Blackman getting his underwear in a wad and possibly transferring out?
Well, again, I think the answer was in the question. You don't want just one quarterback on your roster, but if you bring in a backup, a legitimate grad transfer who's eligible, I don't know if that helps you at all, because I think Blackman would be like, well, man, screw this. And then you're left with one eligible scholarship quarterback. You're in a bind, man. There's no way. I don't think he would leave if you brought in a grad transfer. But, if that kid from Virginia Tech comes in and it actually transfers in here and is eligible, that's going to be a real quarterback competition. And if James Blackman loses it again, then he might pull a Bailey Hockman in August and be like, man, I'm out. I'm not going to be the good soldier anymore.
Yeah.
I think that's the risk. I don't think Willie Taggart is like, man, we can't lose James Blackman under any circumstances. I think it's more to the point of we got to figure out a way to get a quarterback in here without angering our starter so much that he wants to leave. I don't know. That it's just a fine line. I mean, you would hope James Blackman would be like, yeah, sure, bring it on. I'll welcome the competition. But if it's somebody like the kid from Virginia Tech, there is a chance that Blackman, if he doesn't win the job, leaves.
Didn't he get hurt, though? Josh Jackson? I'm looking it up right now. I feel like he broke his leg or something fairly serious. I mean, I know these days breaking a bone is better off than...
he didn't play in the last couple games, did he?
Yeah. He wasn't ready for the Military Bowl, but that was a while back. Yeah, he fractured his left fibula against Old Dominion. But that was...
he'll be fine. Kid's tough. He's a warrior.
I think people... I'll speak for myself. I would feel bad for James Blackman. I don't think Josh Jackson... I don't think Shane Buechele, who ended up committing to SMU... There's nobody on the quarterback transfer market that's going to be the difference between 7 wins and 10 wins with this program. I just don't think so. I really don't.
You wouldn't think, yeah.
At least
I don't know if there's anybody out there that's appreciably better than James Blackman.
Right.
So why Why tick him off and propel him out the door to bring in a guy that's kind of his equal? But again, what else do? You can't not have a backup quarterback.
Right. I mean, I understand, but I think that's what people are talking about. The whole thing that I brought up, and then Corey quickly corrected me on, was that, oh, yeah, it's okay. They didn't get a prep quarterback in the 2019 signing class. Just get a grad transfer for depth, and you'll be all right. The problem there, obviously, if you're a grad transfer, you're not coming here to hold a clipboard. You want to actually play. So if you do bring in somebody quite renowned or has a lot of upside, then you risk alienating James Blackman. And, then where are you at that point? I don't know, man. Like, just let the kid finish out the string. I mean, win 8 games, win 9 games. I think you can win 8 or 9 with James Blackman with this schedule in 2019. And then you can build off of that. And then who knows? Maybe you have some prep quarterback or another grad transfer.
I just thought of something. So Justin Fields got immediately eligible, right, for the racist rant on one of the social media apps by a Georgia fan that was
wasn't on social media. I thought it was actually at a game. Like he was.
Yeah, but it was recorded, I think.
Oh, okay.
And then that's how he saw it that way, and whatever. He's at Ohio State now. He's ineligible. Jordan Travis was at Louisville. In Papa John's, everything at Louisville is named after Papa John's.
True.
And that dude is everywhere and gave $1 million gazillion to that university. And didn't he just lose everything because of some racist nonsense?
I saw him at the
was it the Kentucky game, right?
Yeah, wearing a Kentucky
yeah, but he was at Louisville. Like he's like Drake, man. He just goes from one to another. But he was Louisville's main benefactor forever.
Yeah, he was there, Al Dunlap, for sure.
Yeah, so if that worked for Justin Fields, could that not work for Jordan Travis? That, hey, man, I didn't want to be at Papa John's University. I didn't feel welcome there.
Somebody tweet at Willie and somebody tag Willie, tweet at him, tell him to listen to this podcast at the 11-minute mark. Corey Clark
Papa John's is the avenue to go down. Yeah. And seriously, in all seriousness, Jordan Travis is the perfect guy to be a backup. I don't think he's here thinking he came here he wasn't even sure he's going to play next year, and he's still okay being at Florida State. So he would obviously be a very nice backup plan. Yeah. Capable guy, Division I quarterback, but also isn't a guy that's going to push James Blackman out the door.
Let's segue to Noel Nation 386. He says, wake up! One of his questions is, do you think Jordan Travis will get his waiver since Justin Fields got his?
Well, if they're listening to this if the powers that be at Florida State are listening to this podcast, I think we just opened up an alley.
Yeah.
We opened up some eyes there, right there. Papa John, sorry, buddy.
Opened up an alley.
Sorry, man, going to have to use you.
Yeah, it seems to portend in his favor. If I think somebody posted the numbers on it, there's been 56 or 60 transfers, and 40 or somewhere like 40 to 45 of them have gotten the waiver to go through, so they become immediately eligible. Again, this is a guy that got recruited by a coaching staff that's literally gone. I mean, they're all gone.
Right.
You'd figure, and then obviously it's the getting closer to home factor. I don't know if there's a family.
And also the Papa racist.
Yeah.
You don't want to be there for Papa racist.
Exactly. What player on the football team will receive the most Valentines this year, Corey?
Oh, is that a real question?
Yeah, it's all from Noel Nation 386. A lot of good quick hitters.
Yeah, no, that's a hard one to even.
Tamorrion Terry
would be.
Right?
I think he's a pretty popular kid.
We're saying like right now, this Valentine's Day. So we're going based off of what they've done.
Oh, Tamorrion Terry then.
Yeah, so it's like Tamorrion Terry's the only person you can really. I guess Marvin to a certain extent.
Marvin too. Yep. Yeah, yep. Those are your two main. Those are your two main guys.
Got love for Cam, but Cam, it's what have you done for me lately? So people aren't going to be giving you the candy heart with the cool stuff written on it. But I still got love for Cam. We'll see. Once Cam busts off 146 yards on 19 carries in Jacksonville against Boise State, they'll come in. But yeah, right now, Valentine's Day, it's all Tamorrion Terry. Open your heart up to him. Who will have the better year, Kane-Do or Levante Taylor?
Levante Taylor.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Not sold on Kane-Do. I know he's been banged up. I want to see something out of him. He is a big human being. He's got something to him. But so far, outside of like one game against a terrible team where he had 4 sacks as a freshman, hadn't really done a whole lot.
Yeah. Looks like Tarzan plays like a 2-star. So
yeah, but like Levante Taylor has been a very good player in the past. Josh Kane-Do does not have that on his resume yet.
Noel Nation 386 is from Daytona Beach. Famous people from the area. Vince Carter went to Mainland High School. Also, Denzel Washington went to Mainland for his sophomore year.
Oh, all right.
I don't know. I don't know if that's one of these people, like, some of these people keep leaving troll questions in there.
That's such a random one to throw in there, though.
Yeah. Hey, Aslan and Corey, this is John Henry Jones Jr. I have missed this at some point possibly, but Terrence Mann on the basketball team, like the name of the author character from Field of Dreams played by James Earl Jones? Has anyone asked him if this is a coincidence or if he is named after that character? Great movie, and anyone who dislikes it obviously hates love. Well, let me tell you a little story, John Henry Jones Jr. I've never seen Field of Dreams, so I don't know. I saw this question before I went and spoke to the team or did interviews the other day, and I was actually going to ask Terrence this, but I didn't know the legitimacy of this because I've never seen the movie. I didn't want to ask him a question if I didn't really know it was legit or not.
Come on, Aslan. I had him on my wildly popular podcast a couple years ago, Tuesdays with Corey, and I asked him that. I don't think he had ever seen the movie. And I don't think it was because of James Earl Jones's character. I can't remember. It was a couple years ago, but it wasn't like something that he had a lot of knowledge about. I do remember that. So that's what makes me think that it was just a coincidence. It's also spelled differently.
Okay.
And for like 5 years. Okay. So Terrence Mann is basically the Field of Dreams movie. Terrence Mann plays the role of J.D. Salinger, who wrote Catcher in the Rye and then never wrote another book. But J.D. Salinger wouldn't give the author or wouldn't give the movie people the rights to use his name. So they had to create a fictional character, and they created Terrence Mann, who was based on J.D. Salinger.
Okay. But it was Terrence with 2 R's. I assume,
Terrence with 2 R's, yes.
R. Terrence, T-Man is just one.
I saw that movie in the theater with my dad. It tugs at your heartstrings a little bit, man.
I bet.
It really does.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably a little corny now. I haven't watched it in a while. But man, it really spoke to me.
I think you guys mentioned doing a live show in Austin, Texas or something last week. I currently live just outside of Austin. Please come visit. As for famous people associated with Austin, who could ever forget that notorious chowderhead and former Miami player Kellen Winslow Jr. lived here for a few years but fortunately moved away. Good riddance. If chowderhead is an epithet, I apologize, but I'm just reading what's on the front of the screen. I'm like Ron Burgundy. I don't know what to do sometimes.
You like Brett Favre reading that cameo?
Oh yeah,
where he got in trouble.
Yeah.
Austin is where Richard Linklater is from, who directed Dazed and Confused and the one about Boyhood, and he's a really good director.
Okay. Cat Chaser. Morning, guys. When Willie arrived on campus, up until that last practice before our first game, it seemed like he could do no wrong. Hey, He included, actually donated $1 million of his own salary back to the school, but since that first snap of the first game against Tech, seems like he cannot do anything right. Everything seems to backfire. It seems like Willie is snake bitten. Other than a huge turnaround next year, is there any way he can get himself out of this? No. You have to win games now.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
It's hope or results.
I don't think it has to be a huge turnaround.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say 8 wins is huge with that schedule, but there has to be some positive momentum.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's success or hope. You're selling one or the other, and you can't sell hope. I mean, you could sell hope if you had the number 1 recruiting class this past year and be like, hey, hang tight, folks. But at this point, no, the field, the product on the field has to clearly be turned around. He also asks a question. Basically, would your high school coach being hired on make you consider university? Like, would that sway your decision, Corey? If your high school football coach then got hired at the university that you wanted to go to, like how big of a factor would that be? I think this obviously because Nick Cross from Maryland, he signed with Maryland, folks. It was supposed to be a Florida State, Penn State battle. He ended up staying home in Maryland. His high school coach is now on Mike Loxley's staff in some capacity.
You mean Nick Double Cross?
Oh, yeah.
You'll live with that for the rest of your life, buddy.
Wear that.
Well, it's hard to say, man. It depends on what kind of relationship I'd have with him. Like my high school baseball coach, if he would have gone to a college, I would have made sure not to go to that college.
Yeah.
Like I'd go anywhere but where he went. But also I didn't play a whole lot, so that might have been where some of the ill feelings came from. But if you have a really strong relationship with the guy, then yeah, I could see why that would make a difference. Just like some guys want to go play with their friends. I think that I think there's a million little things that play a part. I think if Florida State had gone 9-3 this year, it didn't have already a lot of DBs in this class, I don't know that it would have mattered that his high school coach went to Maryland.
Yeah. Usually DeMatha is a pretty strong program, so to be a coach there, you have to have some pretty good, credentials yourself. So I'm sure it definitely helped out. That was the thing that scared me.
I think that's where Sam Cassell went.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure DeMatha used to be like a basketball powerhouse.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's right, for sure. One of the guys, Len Bias, I want to say maybe went to DeMatha. There was a 30 for 30, and there was a whole big 5, 10, or actually no, I should take that back. I think one of the guys that was on that 83 NC State team was at DeMatha. One of the key contributors of that, Jim Valvano, the Miracle, whatever. Did they have a nickname, the 83 NC State Wolfpack team that won the national title?
I don't know. The Miracle Pack? I don't know.
One of those guys,
National
I'm pretty sure, played at DeMatha. Yeah, so that was the thing that scared me the most when, he didn't sign the early period. It was like, well, Loxley's a Maryland.
Yeah, you're right. Derek Wittenberg.
Yeah, thank you. He's
and Sidney Lowe. They got 2 guys from that school that went there.
Everyone's like, oh, no, it won't be that. It'll be Penn State, if anything. And again, this is me not knowing. See, sometimes I think it's advantageous for me because I only know a little bit about the recruiting stuff. Like the Will Putnam stuff, I'm like, there's no way he's going to commit. Like his dad is senior command in the United States Army. I don't think he's going to go for, loosey-goosey practices and stuff like that. And then, like, you see Nick Cross, you're like, dude, like, he's from Maryland. He didn't sign. Mike Loxley's in Maryland. Mike Loxley just hired his high school coach. Doesn't sound good. But then, right. There's sources and everything, so then that kind of muddies the waters. Anyhow.
Sam Cassell didn't go to DeMatha, by the way. So just throw Oladipo did, though, and right. Markel Fultz.
Right,
that's crazy.
Look at that.
Anyway.
MX Hutso, howdy from out west, Salt Lake City, Utah, home of the Utah Jazz with the real Rookie of the Year in 2018, Donovan Mitchell, and the best defensive player in the NBA, Rudy Gobert. At this point, can we really expect to add a defensive back coach, Randy Clements? When do we want these new coaches in place before spring practice starts on March 4th?
Don't need them. Wait till August.
Show up in Jacksonville. Cares? Just be there in Jacksonville. Be in Jacks. That's all we need.
Literally, introduce yourself to the team pregame in Jacksonville. Drag it out, man. Let the drama really build.
Have a PowerPoint slide in the locker room. Like, what's up, guys? My name's Randy. Just go through the slides. There's a couple of guys I've coached there in the league. Just real quick, just 3 bullet points. The things that I really focus on are hand placement, effort, and attitude. If you guys can do that for the next 60 minutes, I think we'll be all right. Okay? I got anything else? And then
yeah. I mean, that seems perfect, right?
Yeah. I imagine there's got to be a drop-dead date quickly approaching. Not even so much for the finances.
Let it ride.
Well, the chase is going on right now, and I think by and large the chase is programmed and organized by the strength and conditioning program. All the assistant coaches are out there. They man their own stations. I'm sure a lot of it is Coach O and Willie formulating it. So I'm trying to put lipstick on a pig here. You obviously wanted these coaches to be here a month ago, but there has to be closely a date approaching where either it financially makes sense to eat it and bring guys like Randy Clements in, or you're like, it doesn't and you're not going to let it happen. But I think you can still kind of get away with not having them on campus now. But I mean, it can't be more than, I don't know, 10 days. I mean,
really, you would think, but who knows, man? They just went an entire recruiting cycle.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Hopefully they'll fill out their staff. Or maybe they'll just go without a coach. Maybe they'll go with a coach less this year. Yeah. Save some money that way.
Yeah. All right. This is the last question of the day.
By the way, real quick, Sam Cassell went to Dunbar High School in Maryland. Same school as Tommy Polley, former FSU great.
I think Tommy Polley's got a son that's a top recruit. Maybe he already signed somewhere, but I think Tommy Polley, believe it or not, if you want to feel old, Tommy Polley's got a kid that's supposed to be really good.
I wanted to say he was in the same class. Maybe he's in this class, but I thought he was in the same class as Kevin Knox's kid.
Yeah.
That was a bummer. So that's 2 years in a row now, right? Or I guess 2 out of the last 3 where Florida State was the final 2 really with Kevin Knox and Anthony Edwards.
He's at UConn. His name is Tyler Polley. He's at UConn.
Oh, all right. Okay. I wonder if he's there?
He's there.
I wonder if he played in that game that back in December.
Yeah, I don't know. He's 6'8".
Is he playing?
Let's Let's see here. I can't check it out. We got one more question for today.
All right, sorry.
We'll be back tomorrow to finish up the remainder. There's some questions more about Cabangeli, but we already spoke about our affection for him, and we'll also talk about the Wake Forest game. But one last final question, just because it's somewhat timely. Bucko Boy 32. Wake up, gents. Quick question. Which current or former Knoll did you have the biggest man crush on, and why? It's okay to admit it. No one's judging you here. We are a friendly and welcoming community here at the Tribal Council. My biggest man crush was Derek Brooks. He was a man among boys, destroying running backs, obliterating wide receivers, and making quarterbacks wet themselves as they walked under center. Seeing him on the field made my heart just pitter-patter in a way no other football player has ever done before, since although Dalvin was a close second. I'm from Rock Hill, South Kakalaki, home of NFL players Rick Sanford, Jeff Burris, Ben Watson, Mason Rudolph, Cordell Patterson, Stephon Gilmore, Jonathan Joseph, Chris Hope, and Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah, a lot of players come out of the Rock. Do they call it the Rock or the Hill?
Probably the Hill. Boot Hill.
You think? The Rock is pretty cool, though. I'm from the Rock.
From the Rock. I think Ricks, I guess. I mean, Ricks was the dude. I was like, man, it would not suck to be Chris Ricks.
Don't say that, man.
What?
It's about somebody that you liked and was like, this guy isn't like
crush. Man crush. Like, I want to be handsome and have a rocket for an arm, man.
No, but it means you're like almost kind of in love with him, not in love with the thought of being him. Not this guy. The guy that asked the question didn't pretend to be Dalvin Cook. Right. He was just saying he loved the way he played and what he meant to the university. So you can't go with Chris Ricks. I'm saving you from that. By the way, while you think, Tyler Polley averages 24 minutes a game for UConn, averaging 7 points, shooting 35% from three.
Not bad.
So, all right, he's like a real player. That's pretty good for a freshman to get those kind of minutes. I mean, it's not a good team, but anyway. Man, I would go back to
I feel like it'd have to be somebody older. So, like, I wouldn't want to be like Kelvin or Jameis. It'd be weird if I had a man. That's weird, right? Like, I'll date younger women.
Somebody that's so much younger than you.
I don't want a man crush to be younger. This is getting really, really weird right now. Jeez. I don't know.
I mean, Buster Posey.
I'm not even gonna lie. That's good. That's a good one. I mean, golly, guy can play all 9 positions. Versatility.
Yeah, and he was a closer, and he was clutch, and he was incredible that one year. That was like that was the first baseball season I covered at FSU, was Buster's last year. And it was remarkable. It was a remarkable, insane run. Devin Travis is another guy. Loved that dude. Loved watching him play, but he was also a good guy. And then going back old school,
Danny McManus.
I mean, I've talked about him a million times, but probably Charlie or T-Buck.
Okay.
Ooh, our Warwick Dunn.
Yeah.
Warwick Dunn because of his story. Good-looking man. I'm not going to lie, good-looking man. In fact, when I met my ex-wife on the internet, we bonded over our shared love of Warwick Dunn. That's a good throwing that out there. Warwick Dunn playing Cupid is what Warwick Dunn was doing. He might as well have had angel wings on in a little diaper, shooting arrows at Corey Clark.
I'm going to say with Chris Ricks, man. Chris Ricks.
Oh, God.
Sorry. Okay, Anquan. How about that, Anquan?
Oh, that's much better. Literally. Yeah, Anquan's a really good pick, man. He played the game the right way, and he's a NFL Man of the Year.
Yeah, he is. All right, man. We're done with the questions for today. We'll get back to the rest of them tomorrow, but we'll be right back. Keep it here. We're going to talk about Florida State taking on Wake Forest right after this. It's Wake Up War Chant.
You're listening to Wake Up War Chant, all Knowles, every day. Now back to Corey and Aslan.
We're back. What's up, everybody? Before we get to the Wake Forest game, this was one other question that I forgot to put in the Renegade Express, Corey, but it came from James_Knoll. Says, hi, guys. Our best offensive tackle just entered the transfer portal. When it rains, it pours. Please tell me your thoughts on this. I feel like I'm on a roller coaster ride, and this is supposed to be the off season. James lets us know that he's originally from Lake Wales, which is in Polk County. Pat Borders, who you know well, being a Braves fan, what he did to you guys.
Hey, don't say that. Come on. Why you got to bring that stuff up?
I'm saying. He's one of the many guys that are from Lake Wales. All right, so that said, best offensive tackle just entered the transfer portal. Who would that be, Corey?
Walter Jones?
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, you're talking about current.
Landon Dickerson.
Yeah, again, it would be
So how should we attack
cool
this, Corey? Do we look at it through a thing of optics, or do we look at it as on-field performance, durability, likelihood of contribution, or how do you
Yeah, I mean, I think we're intelligent people. The people that listen to this show are obviously intelligent people, and we all understand, especially if you listen to me long enough, I always live in the gray. There's not a lot of black and white with me, except when it comes to Anthony Edwards making a foolish decision and going to Georgia. The optics, again, this guy started last year when he was healthy, and was he so, I don't know, underwhelmed by the coaching that he's like, I got to get out of here? It wasn't like he said, I got to get out of here before they played a game. It was after seeing what it looked like for 12 months and saying, man, I got to go somewhere else. The optics of that aren't great. Certainly. Also, the pragmatic side of you, though, goes, look, man, how many games has he played in his career? He can't stay healthy. I've said 1,000 times on this show, yeah, we can say Landon Dickerson. You can't count on Landon Dickerson. Not because he's not a tough kid, not because he's not good. You just can't count on him because he can't stay healthy. You just can't. Some people are built like that. So in the football, and number one, he hasn't left yet either. But in the football sense, like actual 2019 season, how much it means, it's hard to say, right? Because were you counting on Dickerson playing 13 games? I wasn't. No. I don't know if they were. It's never been done. I don't know why we would think that would happen. But on the flip side, man, again, can't something go right for Florida State football? Something, anything? Now you don't sign a quarterback. You go 5-7. The kid that was committed to you for a year, one of your best DBs decides to go to Maryland after a quarterback recruit decides to go to Maryland. And now maybe Landon Dickerson's going to Maryland. Who knows? Why don't they all go to Maryland? It's wonderful up there, man. That inflatable turtle is awesome. It's great. It's better than anything at Florida State. By a factor of 10, there's nothing. Doak Campbell's an ugly stadium, obviously. It don't have a turtle. So why would you want to play at Doak Campbell Stadium? I get it. But, yeah, so I get the optics of it, man. Like, that would – again, I don't think Florida State fans would be worried about, oh, God, what are we going to do without Landon Dickerson? Well, heck, you've seen that for the last 3 years. It's what did he see that after playing and being a part of this program for a year, he now might want to get out. Right? Isn't that what would worry you more than anything else? Like, what did he see? What's the story there?
I just don't know where I want to go on this. I don't know if I want to focus on an optics thing or if I want to look at it in terms of a more pragmatic, less emotional reaction. If you're not a member, check it out, warchant.com. Use the promo code warchant30. The thread title on the Tribal Council is Landon Dickerson in the transfer portal. This is reported by Cole Kublik, who works at the SEC Network and also has a radio show somewhere in Birmingham. Check it out. I'm sure he's a good man. But PA Knoll 1 has just, blanketed it with, I guess pragmatism. Basically, pointing out the fact that he's only played 11 games in 3 years. So,
is that right?
Yeah.
11?
I don't think that's true. That can't be true. I don't know. Is it true?
It might be, man. He gets hurt pretty early every year.
Yeah, I'll take him at his word. He seems passionate about his pursuits on the message boards. So that's obviously a thing. What I would say is, that offense was moving at a pretty decent clip in the Virginia Tech game, and then he went down, and then things kind of went sideways. And then they, hurried him in. I guess I don't want to say hurried him in, but, the whole thing every week was, when's Landon going to be back? When's Landon going to be back? I personally was of the belief that, they were going to shut him down for about 2 months, but they ended up bringing him back for the Louisville game, and that was the game they ended up winning, and that was the last time we saw him play. And apparently he had some sort of procedure done on his ankle. It did not heal correctly. It then created another problem, which then caused him to miss the remainder of the 2018 season. So, this guy was important enough. So, people want to diminish the fact that, hey, he only played 11 games in 3 years. So I don't know if that's really diminishing how good he can be or just letting people know, listen, ultimately, good or bad, you can't count on him to be there for you a lot. But he obviously was important enough to this team that going into that game, they had to kind of, do some things to get him ready that probably, caused him for the rest of his eligibility for 2018. So he's obviously an important product. He's an important cog in the machine. I think we agree when he is healthy, he is the most talented offensive lineman they have. Again, that's like with the caveat when he is healthy. He's not healthy all that time. He's in the, like Corey said as well, he's in the portal. He's not, he hasn't announced a destination. James Blackman was supposed to put his name in the portal, right? He was supposed to be gone. Alexander Marshall was supposed to have his name in the portal and supposed to be gone. Everybody had their name in the portal at some point, and most of them are still here. So I don't want to panic too much. But again, this is a kid, it makes you wonder, to my point, I'm more to the belief of you, Corey, of like, what does this say about the state of affairs? That a kid who's toughed it out through the coaching change, has gone through numerous procedures, didn't start looking around in November when his season was over, didn't start looking around in December when his season was over, but now that we're closer to things happening, like what has transpired in my mind, that's what I think. What has happened in the last 30 days, 60 days, that now you're like, all right, I should maybe look and see what else is out there. Like what has changed, man? You've been out since September. That draws sort of a bit of concern.
He might be just like Florida State fans. He might be fed up about not knowing who his O-line coach is going to be.
That could be one. Right? I don't think this is my final answer on it. I don't think it's indicative really of anything else of a symptomatic problem in this program. It's just one of those things that if you're on the outside looking in and you want to throw negative recruiting at Florida State, or if you're a Miami fan or a Gator fan, you want to poke fun and laugh at Florida State, well, then this is another thing you can poke fun and laugh at Florida State for, that their best offensive lineman has put his name in the transfer portal. So,
again, though, best is in a very soft definition, because he doesn't play enough.
Most talented.
Yeah, there you go. But he just doesn't play enough to have ever really proven. I mean, when he's healthy, he's fine. But again, he's never healthy. So I don't think it's as big a deal on the football field as it is, again, like we both just said, like what it's odd timing, and the guy's been here a year, so maybe he's not a believer.
13 games,
he's not a believer in his development, or he's not a believer in the direction of the program, the training staff, whatever the case may be. If he would leave right now after being here 3 years and starting, you wonder, okay, what did happen? What was the final couple straws that made him want to explore going to another school?
Golly, somebody asked, about is Willie snake bitten? Like, I wonder just like what Willie thinks when all these sort of things come to his attention.
Just beat Boise, man.
Yeah,
it really is that simple. I promise you, it could be nothing. Maybe this is what it needs. Like last offseason was an avalanche of positivity. I couldn't quit writing about how awesome the guy was and how different he was, and the program was in a different direction, refreshing, a breath of fresh air, all this stuff. And then it was the worst season these eyes have ever seen. So maybe we have an offseason that's just an utter cluster flip, and nothing goes right. And people start talking about disbanding the program, like can't get anything right. Half the team winds up in the portal. The other half quits football. Maybe they need something like that. It's all negative, and then the season starts, and it's the exact flip. Then it becomes one of the best seasons these eyes have ever seen. I don't think that's going to happen. But if you beat Boise, man, then you start feeling good about things, and we see what happens from there. But you got to get some good. The only good news that can come is beating Boise.
I want to look at the schedule, and I just want to become so negative and skeptical and cynical. I want to do it right now. You lose to Boise.
No.
You lose to Boise. You beat ULM. You lose to Virginia. You beat Louisville. You lose to NC State. You lose to Clemson. You beat Wake. You lose to Syracuse. You lose to Miami. You lose to Boston College. You lose to the Gators. You'd be 4-8. And that's not going to happen, though. It's not going to happen.
Let's hope not.
By the way, it was 13 games. Dickerson started as a true freshman against Charleston Southern. First freshman offensive lineman to start a home opener at Florida State since Jamie Dukes, and then started the next 6 games. That puts us at 7. He started the first 4 games of 2017 before getting injured. That puts us at 7 plus 4 is 11. And then he started the opener against Tech. That's 12. And then he played against Louisville, so that's 13. So there you go, PA.
Well, he was a part of what, like 7 wins in his career, 6 wins?
Yeah, I guess
you're not losing Walter Jones here, folks. If you lose him at all. And again, I'm not trying to take a shot at the kid. I think he is talented. He's good. He can't stay healthy.
But Frank Gore had knee injury after knee injury in college, and he is now a top 10 rusher all-time in NFL history and most likely a Pro Football Hall of Famer.
Are you saying Landon Dickerson is the Frank Gore of offensive linemen?
Why can't it change, though? I mean, why can't
things... It can. I think, it seems like a lot of the injuries are like their feet, right? Their ankles, they're mainly ankles and feet. And some guys just can't handle that weight.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's a little different with offense. It's like centers in basketball. Some of them just can't handle the size. Their feet can't handle it. Like a Bill Walton and people like that. Yao Ming. Their feet aren't built to handle those bodies running up and down the court. Maybe he just has one of those bodies that can't handle the wear and tear of 70 or 80 plays a day on a football field.
Sam Bowie, maybe? Like Sam Bowie?
Like Sam Bowie, the great Sam Bowie, who the jury's still out on whether the Trailblazers made a mistake there.
Right. Yeah, 16 was an ACL, 17 was an ankle, 18 was – but, 18, like he had a high ankle sprain. I think he might have gotten the same procedure that Tua Tagovailoa had to get him ready for the national semifinal. And then something from there went awry. And what made him miss the rest of the season wasn't a structural issue. So it's at a certain point, and the fact that he was brought back, went under a procedure to be able to play the rest of 2018, and then it kind of went wrong for him. I kind of feel like guys that are taking shots at his durability, it's kind of unfair because it's a kid who rushed himself back to play for a lousy team to try to help them out, and didn't take care of himself the way he should have, and then he got, that cost him the rest of his season. So I'm not ready to say that this kid
we don't even know if it wasn't that he took care of himself. But again, at the beginning, it was a structural thing. It was a high ankle sprain.
Right. But it could have came back. If this team wasn't fighting and clawing for bowl eligibility in late September, and this kid could have rested 2-3 months the way he probably should have, maybe.
Well, but then you're talking about it. How many games has he given you? 4?
Well, I don't know, dude. It's just
that's why. And again, not being durable, it's not a negative. It's not a pejorative. It's just some bodies can't handle it. It doesn't mean he's not tough. Like, it's not like a guy that can't play through pain.
But in this case, this is a kid who might have come back too soon, and I don't want to blame it all on him at that point. Florida State played a basketball game last night. Thought we weren't going to talk about it. Ha! We're here to talk about it now. Corey. Huge win, 88-66 over Wake Forest, the Noles. Chris Kumaji being the double-double machine that he is. 10 of 12 from the floor. 20 points, 12 rebounds. When it comes to football, we talk so much about, good teams win, great teams cover. Great teams also take bad teams to the woodshed and let them know who's boss. That's what Florida State's men's basketball team did last night, feels like.
Yeah, that's I guess 3 of their last 5 wins are kind of blowout wins if you count the Miami and the Syracuse game, and then this one. Look, Wake isn't very good. The biggest deal here was you avoided a bad loss. You have to win that game if you're playing Wake. It's going to be crazy. I don't know if Danny Manning's going to keep his job or not, but it's not looking great. That program doesn't seem to be real competitive in the ACC. But yeah, Florida State did what they had to do. It was Wake Forest hit some threes early, stayed in the game, and then Florida State, I think, ramped up the defense even more. I thought they played with a good amount of energy the whole game anyway, despite the opponent. And then, Kumaji out there basically being like a Joel Embiid, except taller. Just dominated the game. So now look, he got a lot of nice passes. Like, it wasn't like he was doing a lot of drop steps and dream shakes and fadeaways to get those points.
He had a couple hooks.
But hey, man, 20 points is 20 points.
Yeah. He had a couple hook shots, He's out there grinding, earning it, making it happen.
Yeah, most of them were dunks, but, still. And I think the bigger thing with him is the rebounds. That's a guy that he's been a pretty decent rebounder all year, better than he's ever been in his career. And getting, whatever it was, 12 rebounds is a really big deal because he's not great at it, even though despite the 7'4", he's not a great 7'4" rebounder. But against Wake, man, he held his own. He crushed those Demon Deacons. And they play them again to end the regular season. They're going to need a similar effort from old Kumaji to take care of the Demon Deacons in what might be Danny Manning's final game in Winston-Salem.
Dude, how cool was it? I mean, I really wish you would have been at the TLCCC with us. I could feel your aura, your presence, your spirit was there with us. So that was kind of a nice consolation. But, my good buddy Michael was in town, the one who took me to the Masters last year. So to make it up to him, I'm like, if you're in town, let me take you to the Wake Forest game. And we can just –
Similar.
So we wiped the slate clean, so I feel good about that.
Right. Well done.
Just to see the walk-ons, the reserves get on, just the pure vanilla, the vanilla Vipers out there, and just to see the way the bench responded. Who's my guy that threw down the alley-oop and just hung on the rim so gracefully? Just like Terrence Mann was convulsing on the floor like he was in a Benny Hinn revival back in '89. It was beautiful. It was amazing. This team is so fun to watch and cover, especially when they're winning in this sort of fashion. That was my favorite part.
Yeah, and they care about each other, man. Like you watch.
Like I care about you.
If you see the photos after the game, or if you watch the bench reaction during that final minute, watch like MJ Walker and Terrence Mann and people like MJ Walker didn't score on Wednesday. He didn't care. He couldn't wipe the smile off his face after that game. Again, I just think it's really, really rare, and I talk about it a lot. But it is a big deal when you're not full of NBA players and in high lottery picks, man. You got to look for every edge necessary, and to have a team that really cares about each other. Like, man, they were more excited for those kids in the final minute than they would have been. Maybe, well, I was going to say if they hit a game winner, if one of them had hit a game winner. That's not true. But they were almost equally excited. They just couldn't contain themselves. They were so excited and happy for those guys, and I think that says something. I mean, I really do. I think they genuinely all really seem to like each other. And you look at them after the game, there was footage of them in the locker room celebrating with Kumaji. And again, they're all, even the guys that scored 5 points or 7 points, they're all celebrating or 0 points. Like they were the big stars. There was a picture also that FSU Hoops tweeted out of Cabangeli coming off the bench to celebrate with Kumaji. Just the pure joy that guy has for seeing his teammate do well. I mean, you can't put a price tag on that, man. If your team has that, they can do some things. It also helps that they're good and they play well, and it's easy to be all like that when you're winning. But man, it just means a lot to them to see their teammates play well, and especially the walk-ons there in the final minute and a half was that was one of the more entertaining walk-on portions of a Florida State basketball game in history.
So I'm a little nervous, Corey, because it was 47 degrees last night in Tallahassee. It's going to be much colder than that in Minneapolis come Final Four. I mean, it's kind of April-ish, right?
It's April. It might be about the same, right?
Oh, man.
Luckily, there's a lot of stuff to do indoors in Minnesota.
Okay.
So, we'll be fun.
All right.
I just feel bad for Ira having to cover the spring game.
Yeah, have fun with that one.
To get to see, James Blackman and Jordan Travis and, I don't know who the post-game concert is going to be this year. I assume Rob Bass or Snow.
Maybe Stevie B. Little crew.
Yeah, who knows who it's going to be, but it'll be awesome. But still, we'll be in Minneapolis watching. I'm going to say Florida State will be playing Gonzaga in a rematch of last year's Sweet 16 matchup, but this time it'll be in the Final Four for the right to play Duke again in the national championship game.
There we go. Have you ever had Ethiopian food, Corey?
No.
I think there's a sizable Ethiopian population in Minneapolis. We'll have to check some of it out. There's there's a international food sort of court, international food court in Birmingham, Alabama, and they have an Ethiopian place. And my good friend, him and his wife actually they adopted one of their baby girls from Ethiopia. So, like, in the spirit of that, I'm like, at least you go eat some dinner there. And I was thoroughly unimpressed. But I'm sure being in Minneapolis, it'll be like more of the real McCoy. So we'll check it out then, and we'll let people know how it goes. But before then, top 5 love songs, Corey. Go.
Oh, my word.
Bryan Adams.
Okay.
Bryan Adams on there, right? Everything I do it for you, right?
Of course. That's up there.
I want you to be
I would
serious.
do anything for love, but I won't do that by Meatloaf.
Stop. I don't want you to be sarcastic, Corey Clark. I need serious dialed in.
Well, why wouldn't you give me like a text or something? And hey, man, I need your 5 top. You just sprung this on me.
I'm terrible at that. I need to start doing a better job giving you heads up on things.
Man, good.
I'm an 80s baby,
At
man.
Last by Etta James.
All right,
I would say that's everybody's. You're always on my mind by Willie Nelson.
No, stop it. See. Are we ending the show now? Is that how you want to end this? On Valentine's Day, you want to end
legit. Those are legit answers.
Come on. Etta James, sure. Is it Etta
Always
or Ella
on my mind, Willie Nelson. That's a great song. It's a great song. It's longing about a love.
Stop patronizing to our older white demographic. Stop.
I promise I'm not doing that. It's The End of the Road by Boyz II Men.
That's a breakup
Back That
song,
Ass Up.
isn't it?
I don't remember who sings that. Who sings Back That Ass Up?
Corey Clark. Come on, man. It's Valentine's Day. Can you ever be serious?
You can't spring something on me and think that I'm going to have 5 love songs like dialed up, ready to go. Probably something by Air Supply. I'm All Out of Love. Lost in Love.
Dude,
Making Love Out of Nothing. One of their songs. Air Supply had some hits.
For like 13 weeks in a row, every Friday I asked you to send us out on a high note, and you talked about a message of positivity and love. Surely there's songs that you could always fall back on. Ella James Fitzgerald, or is it Ella Fitzgerald or Etta Fitzgerald? There's Etta James. It's Ella Fitzgerald, I think.
It's Ella Fitzgerald and Etta James.
Okay, Ella Fitzgerald at last. That's up there. I'll go old school, like Righteous Brothers, Unchained Melodies, probably up there.
That just reminds me of me and my ex-girlfriend because we were really into pottery together.
Yeah, Ghost. Okay, I got you.
So we did a lot of pottery scenes together.
A lot of 80s ones, like remember the band Firehouse? Love of a Lifetime, that's solid.
I mean, okay. You're going to make fun of Willie Nelson and you're going to bring up Firehouse?
I mean, Sheriff, When I'm With You, Monster Ballads, track 14. That's really a good one. There's nothing contemporary. I don't think there's anybody. Has there been a really good contemporary love song of late? I can't think of anything. Like, somebody home's like, what about Mumford & Sons? I Will Wait. No. Stop it. No.
Little Lion Man. I don't know. I don't know about a contemporary love song. I'm sure there's been some, but none are popping to mind. I'm sure Ed Sheeran has like 9 of them. Slow Hands by that dude Neil Horan. Yeah, man. I don't know. That's a tough one. It's a tough one, Aslan. I wish I could come up with a better list, but you sprung it on me last minute.
Endless Love.
And I've tried my best. I think I've given some good answers, a lot to think about. I'm sure there's a few that I'm not really remembering. The Beatles, I bet, have some. In My Life by the Beatles is a good one.
No, Beatles, stop it. So overrated.
Again, I apologize. Let's get back to Firehouse.
Well, you tried, and I'll do a better job of these questions that are on my mind. Not to steal a line from your dude, Willie.
Right.
I'll let you know a little bit more in advance next time. Folks, sorry about the hiatus. We'll be back tomorrow as well. Love one another. Love each other. And don't tip more than 18% if you don't have to. Make them earn it out there tonight, all right? Make them earn it. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Take care.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.